Welcome back to IMO, in my opinion. I'm Alika Hope, and joining us now is Gina and Millie, along with Dana and Alicia, who were here before. But on a serious note, we really want to talk about the Trayvon Martin case. It's affected us all in our hearts. Someone want to start off talking about it?
I'll start off. I'm a mother of 4, 2 sons, live in the suburbs. My son has walked many times home from hanging out with friends, hoodie on. It's chilly here in New England in the dark. And we've been racially profiled various times. And as a matter of fact, so is he. And he was telling us, again, that in the 7th grade, when we first kind of moved back into the community, I grew up there, moved back to the community, and he was waiting for some friends, at the park, and apparently got a phone call to the cops saying that he was looking suspicious at 13, 7th grade. So fast forward, 3 years, and we've had the conversations. How do you respond? How do you walk? How do you, be very, very careful not to be misperceived as a threat? So for that reason alone, as a mother and of a 15-year-old, 6'1" tall son, it was very, very impactful for me, because these things, it could happen to anyone. And you remove the hoodie, you remove the Skittles and the iced tea and the race and everything else, it's still the fact that an unarmed child, an unarmed teenager, is dead, and a suspect is walking.
It was Geraldo Rivera that really started the hoodie issue with his comments on Fox News, saying that Trayvon was partially at fault for his own death because he had a hoodie on, which really ignited people. Yeah, and rightfully so, because
which is
who
ridiculous.
doesn't wear a hoodie?
Everybody has a hoodie.
Everybody wears a hoodie.
Everybody has a hoodie.
It's not the hoodie.
And it's not the hoodie. It's a matter of somebody being overzealous and racially profiling this boy who had a home in this community, which is the scariest part. He lived there like your kids. I just had an incident the other day. It actually didn't happen, but this sounds strange. It put fear in my heart because I work in Long Meadow, and it's a predominantly white community. And I was standing on the back porch of the person that I work for, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm standing on this porch. What if somebody calls and says there's an intruder?
Suspicious.
How do I prove? And she's not there. How do I prove that I belong there? And I never really. I thought about it in some terms. As a woman, it's very different. You think about your femininity and protecting that,
Which doesn't necessarily make a difference.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I really felt fearful for the first time. Really, like, how do I prove that I am? Skip Gates can be kicked out of his own house by cops in Cambridge because he's black and he's in his own house, and somebody says he's breaking in.
Neighbor.
And he's high profile.
You don't know
You don't know your neighbor, and you don't know Skip Gates. So it's kind of like it's almost, you feel like your whole protection is stripped based on, and that's how people felt 50 years ago. That's how people still feel now. And you might not be impacted by it personally, but it's real.
And the world is watching us.
Yeah, they are.
And in 2012, as a parent, you have to teach your children all the basic things and manners, and but it's sad that because my son, also 13, wears hoodies, and you have to teach them that when you walk out the door, you might scare somebody just because of how you look. You could be the kindest, sweetest person. Yes, and it's really sad because it just puts a whole nother dimension into raising a black child, the things you have to teach them.
And those are things that always, it seems like it always existed, but for some reason this particular issue really inspired tremendous passion and fear.
Because it could have been anybody, and everyone can relate.
Yeah, and for then some people. What about President Obama's comment? My son, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon.
Well, mine does look like Trayvon, actually.
And so does mine.
Yeah, and the thing is, people have been offended by that comment.
Right.
But it's true.
It is very. I'm sorry. Why would people be offended by that? I'm trying to figure out why you'd be offended.
Because
that's what
it's
a son would
real.
look like.
Because it's true, and they don't expect the president, who is a black man, to actually
married to a black woman, so the child would be black.
To say, finally, I am black. appalled by this, apparently, that I am black, and if I had a child, he would look like this, and he would also be facing these same dangers. And so do my girls, and so does my wife, and so do I if I am a regular guy on the street.
And I can completely understand and actually honestly be empathetic to people who might not see it as, okay, well, I don't understand what the big deal is. This guy was threatened. He felt like, you know, he was being a neighborhood watch person.
Man with a gun.
And, you know, and I can appreciate that. However, the 911 dispatcher told him to stay in the car. He got out of the car. He has a history, if you want to talk history, of calling repetitively, calling.
50 times since January.
Self-appointed.
Really? That he called
911 because he felt
activity.
suspicious. He felt this. It was suspicious
I
activity.
hear that. Wow.
50
Absolutely.
times.
So my only question is, you know, if that's the case, then clearly there is a pattern with this person that caused his own neighborhood people to be kind of suspect. So whether his father is a judge magistrate or mother was a clerk or whatever the case may be, the fact of the matter is that there was no, not even taken into custody.
Yeah,
That boggles my
I know,
mind.
yeah.
And in America, where we say we are, you know, the land of the free and the home of the brave, and I'm so glad to be an American citizen.
And the
However,
police are there
the
to
world is
serve and
looking at
protect.
us. The world is looking at us
And
like, why is justice not served?
Someone made a point, I heard on the radio that Kim Kardashian, someone threw flour at her.
She got
And
arrested.
the woman
The
who
woman
did that
was
was
arrested.
So why would he at the very least, be arrested
This
and
child
then
was shot in
have
the
a
chest
right.
and killed.
And under investigation, they should arrest that person.
Exactly.
That's
He could
common sense.
flee.
Investigate the situation. If you're not, then fine, we'll release you and hey, call it a day. But everywhere else, it happens like that in the most poor neighborhood. But then a rich person's gonna walk down and something really stupid happens to her, and you gonna make justice about a flower thrown to her or whatever.
Yeah.
Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
I am Latina and I have people and I have family. My mother's dark skin. My grandfather is black as it can be, like the tires of my car. And it's like, what are you gonna do? You know, you're gonna be. My grandfather's gonna walk through my door and he's gonna be suspicious to you. I mean, like that ridiculous thing happening with Cambridge, like the neighbor. You don't know your neighbors.
Yeah, right.
Like, give me a break.
Or you know your neighbors and you really want to give them a hard time.
Yes, which it happens every day.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Well, actually, you just brought up a thought. A few years ago, I was in Pennsylvania, and I was in a major beauty supply store, one of the #1 beauty supply stores in the country, which I shall not name. But I was looking at some stuff in the aisles, and I realized the salesperson was following me up and down the aisle, and I thought, you know, I give people a chance. I give people a big chance. And so I thought maybe she's just following everyone. And I looked around the store, and there were other people in the store who happened to all be Caucasian. She wasn't following any of them. And by the way, I had a dress on that was down to my ankles and jewelry and no hoodie, no nothing, just for the record. And I went up to the front of the store, and I confronted her and the manager, and they denied everything. And I said, you know, it's really interesting that you are doing this to me, that I have a bachelor's degree from Notre Dame and a master's from Columbia University, but yet because of what I look like in my face and I had a nice dress on, you know, you're following me around the store. And they kept saying, no, 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 no. I said, there are 4 other people here. You weren't following any of them. And they denied it. And I wrote a letter to that store, who then wrote me back and apologized, sort of. But it wasn't a very good apology.
That was one of my first experiences, remembering getting
That's
followed.
what I was going to say.
Yeah,
it's sad.
it's amazing.
Like we've all had that
It's
experience.
amazing.
And,
And I never really thought that would happen until it really did happen, and it was clear why it was happening, totally clear why it was happening. So I haven't been back to that town in Pennsylvania.
And part of that tragedy is no matter how far you go, no matter if you're Skip Gates, no matter if you have a master's from Columbia, no matter if you
multimillionaire looking for a cab in the city.
Exactly.
That's a whole other story.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't matter how far you go in life and how much you accomplish of the American dream, which obviously isn't necessarily our dream all the time, you will always be that person in the hoodie.
And unfortunately, we've had to have conversations. Okay, well, if I dress a certain way, will I be perceived differently? I don't want to walk around like with the jeans on and whatever, because you might be perceived a certain way. But
I want to say really quick, because we really want to get to an important thing about the walk for Trayvon.
Saturday.
Yeah, if you want to support, and this is a peaceful march, the Alliance of Black Professionals, they're having a 1,000 hoodie, a walk for Trayvon Martin. It's this coming Saturday, March 31st at 10 a.m. And I believe they're meeting in front of City Hall. Yeah, in front of City Hall. It's open to all ages. It's a peaceful march, and they're asking that everyone wear a hoodie and support. So So it's definitely a way to just do something, because you know, it's like everybody I think wants to do something, but what do you do? So definitely take part in that.
Whatever you do, we want you to do it in peace, as we do it
Absolutely.
in peace, always in
All the
peace.
time.
And I know that
Respectfully.
exactly, respectfully, and we don't want to let people that hate win. We want to let people that love win. And if you're watching the show from around the country, because we have some viewers outside New England, please look in your local area. There are marches and rallies for Trayvon all over the country happening right now. We'll be right back.